On today's show, we'll be talking about President Biden's new infrastructure and updates on the Derek Chauvin trials,
as well as taking a look into a local Las Vegas attraction. All that and more on Studio G.
Welcome back to Studio G. I'm Valentina Menchikov.
And I'm Jonathan Corral. Happy Thursday, everybody. Johnson & Johnson has announced a delayed shipment of its single-dose vaccine. There was an ingredient mix-up at a Baltimore plant that delayed the FDA authorization and has affected around 15 million doses.
Yesterday, a mass shooting occurred at an office complex in Orange, California, killing 4 people, including a child, with a 5th victim left wounded. Authorities have released little information about the suspect, but they are being transported to a hospital due to a gunshot wound and is currently in critical condition.
The Wynn Resort just settled a $5.6 million dispute over tips that the dealers received being shared with their supervisors. Kane Castro, a dealer at the hotel, said she lost nearly $150,000 in 2018 to her supervisor. We will have more on the story next week.
It's been 10 months since the death of George Floyd, who was killed by police officer Derek Chauvin. This week marked the start to the trial. Reporter Jasmine Nguyen has the story. Warning, some images may be disturbing to some viewers.
The first week of the Derek Chauvin trial wraps up. The first 3 days were filled with testimony and evidence. Chauvin is the officer responsible for the death of George Floyd that sparked the massive wave of protests across the world last year. Monday was the first day of court. Opening statements brought up questions of what the actual cause of death was, debating claims of homicide or overdose. The second day was filled with witness testimony, including an off-duty firefighter and EMT.
In my memory, I offered to walk them through it or told them, if he doesn't have a pulse, you need to start compressions.
Genevieve Hansen told the jury she was ordered to not help Floyd. Another witness took the stand, adding to the list of horrors witnessed that day.
I did call the police on the police.
Right. And why did you do that?
Because I believe I witnessed a murder.
The witness who recorded the original video testified as well. Her identity is protected because she was a minor at the time of the recording. On the third day, new evidence was brought to the jury, including Chauvin's body cam footage. Chauvin's voice was heard for the first time since the murder in an exchange with a bystander after George Floyd's body was taken to the hospital. That same bystander testified Wednesday as well. Video footage of Floyd in the store was brought to the jury, and the store clerk testified, saying he regrets taking George Floyd's counterfeit bill that day.
Disbelief and guilt.
Why guilt?
If I would have just not taken the bill, this could have been avoided.
Reporting for Studio G, I'm Jasmine Nguyen.
We'll give more updates as the trial continues.
Positive COVID-19 cases have made a decline here in the U.S. as more citizens are getting vaccinated. However, cases in France seem to be spiking as of recent, leading to a countrywide lockdown. Studio G reporter Anthony Ramos tells us more.
This past Wednesday, France President Emmanuel Macron has reinstated a countrywide lockdown as COVID-19 cases continue to spike.
Les règles qui sont en vigueur.
The rules which are in place in the 19 departments under reinforced vigilance, these rules will be extended to the whole country from this Saturday evening and for 4 weeks.
The lockdown in full effect is allowing citizens to only leave their homes for essential items. Take a look at this graph. You'll notice the gradual incline in COVID-19 cases in France from March 1st, 2020 to March 31st, 2021. There has been very little decline in cases.
If we have chosen to affect the entire metropolitan territory, it is because no region is spared. Everywhere the virus is circulating faster and faster, and everywhere hospitalizations are increasing.
The lockdown will only be lasting for 4 weeks as citizens continue to get vaccinated. Take a look at this other graph from Statistica. The vaccination rate of France citizens continues to rise. There are over 7 million citizens who have received the first dose and over 2 million citizens who have received the second dose. For Studio G, I'm Anthony Ramos.
We hope for the safety of all in France. We will update you as more information is to come.
Yesterday, President Biden announced a new proposal that aims to improve America's infrastructure.
Democrats, Republicans, Independents, we can do this. We have to do this. We will do this.
Yesterday, President Biden announced a $2 trillion infrastructure plan titled the American Jobs Plan that, if enacted, would rebuild roads, upgrade our internet connection speeds, and improve transport systems to be cleaner for the environment. The proposal would give $115 billion to rebuild roads and bridges, $100 billion for high-speed broadband connections across the nation, another $100 billion towards improving and building new schools, and $100 billion to move the country towards clean energy. Biden's proposal also includes provisions aimed at improving predominantly Black and Brown communities through reserved funding for historically Black colleges, as well as replacing lead pipe water systems throughout the country, which mainly affect communities of color. All of this would happen within a time span of 15 years, with money coming out of increased corporate tax rates, which would bump up from 21% to 28%. However, all of this is still only if the proposal passes Congress, which is at a nearly even split between Democrats and Republicans, with even Democrats having an internal split between moderate and progressive Democrats. Reporting for Studio G, I'm Jonathan Corral.
This proposal will most likely spark a lot of debate within Congress, so let's hope that whatever the final plan is will still help the average American.
Don't go anywhere, Studio G. We'll be right back with your weather forecast for the weekend.
You're pregnant, and no matter what you do, no matter what you try, you can't stop using. But it's not too late. There are safe places across Nevada to help pregnant women stop using. No matter how lost you are, how far along you are, there's always hope. If you or someone you love is pregnant or thinking about getting pregnant and using alcohol, drugs, or tobacco, visit SoberMomsHealthyBabies.org or call 211 to find help today.
There is no known safe amount of marijuana used during pregnancy. Everything a mother eats, drinks, or smokes affects her developing baby or enters her breast milk. Just like alcohol and tobacco, using marijuana can have negative effects on your baby. Using any form of marijuana may be harmful to your baby during pregnancy and while breastfeeding. Marijuana can affect your ability to care for your baby or someone else's baby. If you're pregnant or a new mother and using marijuana, you are urged to quit. Visit SoberMomsHealthyBabies.org or call 211.
Good afternoon, UNLV. I'm Katora Thomas here with your 5-day weather report. Today's weather is a beautiful 70 degrees with a high of 79 and tonight being only a few degrees lower. Don't forget to bring a jacket. Across the valley will be varying degrees of high 60s and lower 70s. But hold on because the weekend is going to be magnificent. We are lucky that it'll be a 90-degree Easter weekend. Don't be shy about getting out to those newly opened parks. Hit up brunch with some friends and leave those jean jackets behind because the desert is heating up. Not a moment too soon. That's all for weather. Now, back to Jonathan at the desk.
PT's Tavern will be celebrating National Beer Day with $4 celebratory mugs of PT's crafted brews all day on April 7th. Throughout April, all taverns will offer 4 unique limited edition Vegas Golden Knights collector's cups with the purchase of a 16-ounce beer. PT's offers daily drink specials available from 5 to 7 p.m. and a late night happy hour from midnight to 2 a.m.
As the NFL draft is approaching and pro day highlights coming out, Kyle Pitts, a tight end for the University of Florida Gators, is making headlines because of this video.
And this is where the matchup problems start. When you can get into 11 personnel, and Roman knows this extremely well, and now you bring nickel on the field, and there's a strong safety that has to match up one-on-one with Kyle Pitts or a linebacker that's not named Levante David, you have an issue.
6'6" and weighs 246 pounds. He completed this 40-yard dash in 4.44 seconds, which is only 0.22 seconds slower than the fastest recorded time. We'll have more updates on Pro Day and professional sports next week. After the break, we'll have an in-studio interview with the owner of a local Las Vegas attraction.
NDOT's top priority is keeping you safe and connected. One of the many ways we strive to keep you safe is by taking an active role with improving the quality of stormwater runoff entering our waterways from our roads and highways. From constructing and maintaining roads to monitoring our waterways, NDOT's dedicated environmental professionals are focused on reducing the impact of our projects on our environment. We do our very best to preserve Nevada's waters for future generations.
This is a storm drain. It collects stormwater. Grass clippings, fertilizer, yard waste, they all contaminate our stormwater. Litter, pet waste, they also contaminate it. Fluids from leaking vehicles run right in there. All stormwater goes untreated directly to our local waterways. Keep contaminants out of our storm drains and out of our waters. Join us in preserving Nevada's waters for future generations. Visit loveandbewaters.com.
There are a lot of attractions opening in the valley. Cowabunga Bay had its reopening over the weekend, and Studio G reporter Sydney Orpano has the story.
I'm Sydney Orpano. I'm here at Cowabunga Bay, and we're checking out how they are handling COVID on their first day of opening the water park.
We have social distancing in place, additional sanitation, reduced capacity at the park. We're all in face masks unless we're sliding, splashing, or swimming.
We spoke with a Las Vegas local to see how comfortable him and his family were with attending the park during COVID.
We're all vaccinated. We had COVID last year also, so we're like double safe. My wife and I got Pfizer, others in the family got Moderna.
Shane Hewish shared what's new and what other safety precautions they're implementing at the park.
During the lockdown, I spent a lot of time watching Food Network Carnival Eats, so I got obsessed with deep frying. So this year, we've got sweets and treats, and we are deep frying everything. Pickles, Oreos, hot dogs, cheese, Snicker bars, you name it, we'll fry it. We've had to go to life jacket sanitation due to COVID, so everybody comes here, checks out a lifeguard that's been sanitized, and when they're done, they bring it back and we re-sanitize it again.
Cowabunga Bay is now open until October. More information can be found at cowabungabaylasvegas.com.
This is Sydney Orpano reporting for Studio G.
Is coming quickly in Cowabunga Bay would be a nice relief. Sydney Orpano is in the studio with owner Shane Hewish to talk about more about the attraction.
Hi Shane, how are you today?
Hello, good afternoon.
Thank you so much for joining us here in the studio. We are wondering, what inspired you to bring Cowabunga Bay here to Las Vegas?
Well, I started in the amusement industry years ago. I worked for Six Flags as a kid, and as I grew up and started working, my brother and I came up with an idea to build a water park, and we thought, where can we do it where it's warm enough? And Vegas was the obvious answer.
The perfect spot. So do you cater more to locals here or for tourists that are here in Vegas?
You know, anyone that comes to Las Vegas always thinks we got to get the tourists, but we're here for our local market. We appeal mostly to families and everyone that's living here in Las Vegas.
So with everything going on with COVID the past year, how much has changed for you guys and everything that how you guys operate? What's changed?
Well, gosh, what hasn't changed? We have had to completely reinvent our operations with all the COVID restrictions. We have had to implement social distancing, reduce our capacity. You know, employees that have to normally work around water are now working in face masks. So there's been a lot, and it changes daily as the restrictions sort of ease or become more stressful.
Right, so you guys are doing like extra cleaning, face masks are required.
So last year we started with the COVID protocols, and we're continuing with the same protocols this year. Extra sanitation, like I had mentioned before, the reduced capacity. We do social distancing in the water and on the ground. Face masks are required when you're coming into the gate, while you're standing in line for food, when you're going to the restrooms. But when you're in the water or waiting for a water slide attraction, we don't have people wearing face masks.
Yeah, that makes sense. So while I was there, you did show us the new Sweets and Treats restaurant. That looks so delicious.
This is one of my favorites. I've had so much fun coming up with the menu and creating the items and doing test kitchens all the time. So yeah, sometimes I'll stop by at the gas station on the way home, pick up a candy bar, and the next day we'll dip it and fry it. It's been really fun.
What else is new there at the park this year?
Well, we were going to introduce a new attraction, but unfortunately when we got closed down last spring for COVID, we had to divert those funds into keeping our employees on at the job. So we hope to introduce a new attraction in the near future.
Oh, it's fun. So many students here at UNLV, I'm sure, are looking for jobs. Are you guys hiring this season?
Every season we hire about 500 employees. That's high school students, college students, and just anyone else who's looking for a job. There's a lot of entry-level positions, but there's also some positions like a lifeguard that require education and training and certification. It's a great job for young kids because we have such a community and we have a lot of good times together, a lot of parties afterwards and stuff like that.
What kind of parties do you guys have?
We love to play bingo.
Ooh. And if someone wants to apply, how would they do that?
They can do that at cowabungabayvegas.com.
Okay.
Right now we're doing all interviews online.
Oh, that makes sense. Are there any promotions going on, student promotions?
So we do. We offer a great promotion for UNLV students and staff. If you go to our webpage, up in the right-hand corner, there is a place where you can click a promo button and enter the promo code UNLV 2021 and you'll save up to 40% on admission tickets.
That's really good. And I think one of the goers that we met at Cowabunga Bay when we interviewed you the first time mentioned that you were allowing season passes from last year to roll over to this year?
So last year we had a situation with an abbreviated season.
Okay.
We gave our pass holders different options. If they wanted to come last year, we threw in a bunch of freebies for them. If they didn't feel comfortable coming last year, then we rolled their passes over to this year. So they've had options.
That's really good. So I know in previous years there's usually like concerts and special events. Are you guys planning on having anything like that this year?
We have an exciting country concert coming up in August. It's put on by 95 The Bull and Us, and it's going to feature Parmalee and some other great artists. That's in August.
Oh, cool. So is that going to have the same safety precautions and regulations as normal?
Whatever is in place at that time, we'll have to follow the rules.
That
so we're
makes
hoping
sense.
for easement around the first of the summer.
All right. Is there anything else you'd like to share with us?
You know what, we are so excited to be here in the Valley, and I'm really appreciative to have this interview with you, and I love when you guys came down to the park. So we'd like to invite everyone out to get back to normal this year. Come out and have fun at the water park. We're open weekends, and then we begin daily operations middle May.
Perfect. Thank you so much again for joining us here.
Thank you.
Don't go anywhere. Studio G will be right back.
It's okay to wonder about safety. I'm here to tell you, and we're all here to tell you, that it is safe. We will not be taking it if we did not think it was safe. We would not be advocating for our own family members to get a vaccine if we didn't think it was safe. These vaccines have demonstrated that they can prevent severe illness and death, which means we finally have a chance of beating this thing and getting back to the life that we knew pre-pandemic.
I think the vaccine's important. I absolutely am going to take advantage of it. It's an opportunity we have to try and prevent the spread and contain this. Look, we know the devastation that Nevada's economy has seen from the COVID-related illnesses and the shutdowns at businesses across the board, from gaming all the way down to small business. And we need to make sure that we do everything we can to protect our loved ones, to protect our neighbors and friends. Anything we can do to get back to work is extremely important.
In Rebel athletic news, the Rebel football team returned to the field yesterday for their first session of spring practice. The Rebels did not win a game this past season, so any chance to get back to work and improve as a team is a step in the right direction.
In basketball news, junior Bryce Hamilton has decided to enter the NBA draft process but will not hire an agent so he can remain eligible to continue his collegiate career in case he decides to return to UNLV. The softball team's 3-game series against San Jose has been canceled this weekend due to COVID concerns with the Spartan program.
The baseball team, on the other hand, will host Fresno State for its 3-game homestand. The Rebels will have to win all 3 to stay within reach of San Diego State, who are also at home against New Mexico. Finally, last week's Raising Cane's Outstanding Player of the Week, Ariana Reyes, will be on the field with the women's soccer team as they host the Aztecs of San Diego State Saturday night. Check back with us next Tuesday to see the results from the weekend. Go, fight, win, Rebels.
Now to Katora Thomas for What's Trending.
It's time to take a look at what has been trending today, Thursday, April 1st. April Fool's Day is at the top of the list. The holiday dates back to the 1500s when France switched from the Julian calendar to the Gregorian calendar. Those who did not get the memo about the change from April 1st to January 1st became the butt of the jokes, and thus April Fool's Day was born. Coming at 2 on the list, hashtag opening day. The MLB season kicks off today with the 15 games. Wrapping up the list is Film by BTS. The K-pop band announced on Spotify this morning that they have a new film coming out that will be available on Spotify. That's all we have for what's trending. Back to Valentina and Jonathan.
Models and actresses Dominique Jackson and Hunter Schafer break down barriers and bring trans representation into the world of high fashion as they take on the Mugler Spring 2021 fashion show.
Mugler is one of the biggest fashion houses in the world. Their apparel has been worn by the likes of Beyoncé, Dua Lipa, Cardi B, and Miley Cyrus. Mugler's aesthetic is inspired by the otherworldliness and the art of transforming models through his collection.
I've never really been into fashion, but it is really crazy to see, like, you know, high fashion. It's really inspiring. How do you feel about it?
Yeah, I haven't heard about Mugler until now, but
either.
you know, I definitely heard about a lot of those pop artists they mentioned. So I mean, it's definitely gonna, I think, a fashion brand.
It's
gonna
trendy
take
right
off.
now. We
Like,
got to
it's-
get
yeah.
into the trends right now, Jonathan.
Yep. And that's all we have for you today. I'm Jonathan Carell.
And I'm Valentina Menshikov. Thank you for tuning in to Studio G this week.